Welcome to the warm-up podcast. I sound like that bloke who's doing all that voiceover work at the moment. You know, the guy who does all the stuff on Absolute Radio. Sorry, I'll start again. Welcome to the warm-up podcast. I'm Johnny Vaughan.
I'm James Brown.
And there's no Gavin Woods this week. Although he is in South Africa doing sterling work for the Donald Woods Foundation, which is his dad, who's quite a legend. He's the guy that they made the film Cry Freedom about.
He's on the warm-up outreach campaign, bringing health and medicine to people in huts.
Do you know what, James? I thought you were a bit flippant about that today. I really wanted him to get a good thing in.
No, but it was great. You gave them all that publicity.
I did, but then you
gave them all that. I was just a bit surprised that they lived in huts.
Do you know what you're like? Sometimes you're like, and it's a real northern trait. You can't quite resist sincerity as like a setup for a gag. You just sort of see when someone's being really sincere.
Yeah, you gave them
no, but you just
a
couldn't
fantastic
resist it.
platform, but it does sound at odds with what Gavin normally does,
yeah,
which
it
is arsing around
but
and moping about
I said I'd give
Arsenal.
him a bit of a slot. Anyway, the point about it is I made a mistake because then later on in the show I was saying that if patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel, then charity is certainly the first.
I knew where you were with that.
I know, but what I mean is I just keep reading stories about people who've done horrendous things, and they've sort of got in there through charity to get to... they've got in there through charity and got to vulnerable people. And I think also a lot of people sort of do it like raising thousands of pounds, and they're like villains.
And
it just makes them feel good.
Gives them a veneer of respectability.
Yeah, but then I suddenly realised I myself am quite a patriot, and I do charity work.
Do you have a particular charity you work with that you want to mention?
James, I never talk about my charity work. What was your expression when you were a kid? Like, I was thinking the other day that we used to always do this thing. I don't know where it's gone.
Yep.
But when I was a kid, did you have that thing? Oh yeah, Jimmy Hill, that beard thing.
No.
We used to stroke your chin if someone wasn't telling the truth. You used to go, "Oh yeah, Jimmy." I want to do a documentary.
Like a Pinocchio chin thing.
Like a chin thing. Yeah, we used to go, "Yeah."
That would be a good documentary. People just talking about the language you had as kids.
Yes, yeah. Like we used to say things like, "Look at me, skill."
Skill.
People used to say skill.
When Pete went past on bikes slowly, we played football in the street, you'd chant 19 miles an hour.
No, I didn't mean that, James.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that I mean
the language you have as kids
what
that you leave behind.
What words did you have for when something was really good? Not like ace.
Ream.
That's still around.
That's come back.
I know it's come back, but come on, what else?
I can't remember.
Come on, James. You're like one of those.
Ace was the word.
Ace. But what else?
I can't remember.
Every week you tell us something weird like minerals or something strange that you have up there. Spanish.
We had a tweet this week backing up the Spanish from a guy in Newcastle.
Come on, you must have had some word at school that made it great. Did you used to have skill? Me, skill.
Yeah, we had skill, ace, ream. Ream's come back.
I know ream's come back.
Disappeared.
You said that twice, but we can't keep talking about ream. Hey, ream.
I can't.
You can have ream.
Brian Moore's on Sky Sports.
I just want to know, if you are listening to this, please tweet in and tell us if you used to do... Because I want to try and find out where it started and where was the first use of, oh yeah, Jimmy Hill, of doing, yeah, reckon you
It's like a Pinocchio thing.
Yes, it was, yes.
But with your chin.
But at my school, it got to such a ridiculous stage that at one stage, if someone said, something like some ridiculous story, you'd go, oh yeah, fididdly-qua-qua.
Weird chin-stroking Adam and the Ant school.
Yeah. Oh, fiddly-qua-qua. It just got ridiculous. People started doing it out of armpit hair, going, yeah.
Weird public school.
I know. It wasn't because they did it in all schools. I know. People used to go Jimmy Hill. It wasn't just a public school thing.
Jimmy Hill.
Yeah, we used to do it in jail as well. No, I'm lying.
Yeah, of course you did.
I'm lying. All we did there was hide. It's well, you did if you were 20. You did if you were the youngest bloke in there. Went to a public school, came from London, and were up north. Okay,
right.
Here's your podcast. Good morning. Welcome to your warm-up. Absolutely live. There are no tricks. This is live. And it's coming at you in association with Capital One. I'm Johnny Vaughan on the day when Harry Redknapp and Steve McLaren, Arsenal, big team, battle it out for the richest prize in world football, a place in the Premier League. Jimmy Brown will be taking us through that a bit later. And that game between QPR and Derby is live on TalkSport this afternoon. And it's an all-Madrid affair as Real and Atletico go head-to-head in this evening's Champions League final. That match also live on TalkSport, and what a bumper day of football it will be. Well, that's how we're billing it. And that's it, in fact.
2 matches.
2 matches, that's it. Bumper day, then. Warming up alongside me, Printrepreneur James Brown. We're also going to be checking out what the vibe is today in South Africa. Just now, we'll be talking to the woodman, Gavin Woods.
Is he on holiday there?
No, he's not actually. I'll tell you what it is. His, as you know, Gavin's dad was the great Donald Woods.
Yeah, the famous South African editor of a newspaper.
The guy who's featured in the film Cry Freedom, who got Steve Biko out and then in, and he had to leave out. He had to leave the country himself. Gavin's actually been played by someone in a film, a Dickie Attenborough film. And so Gavin, his family have a foundation where they do great work with people suffering from HIV over in Africa. So Gavin's going to go and see a few of the people there.
They've got 13 clinics.
They've got 13 clinics. So Gav's out there.
Overseeing it.
And he's quite wary, actually. He's never been a dignitary. And
Is that what he's been dignified?
Yeah, he's got to go and do all meet and greet and things. It's really serious stuff. He's a big man over there. It's hard for us to believe. But the woodman, he's going to go over there. But he's doing meet and greets. But well done to him, because it's fantastic. And his mum's was very much involved with it. And he's going out there and really hail to Gavin for that. But we will be asking him, what's your vibe today, Gav?
Yeah, he's tweeted a picture of himself on a beach.
Has he?
But with a phone. To make it better.
Oh, has he done that? Like correspondents do?
Just so he gets
awesome.
paid. Look, I'm contributing to the show. I'm on the beach with a phone. If you look at TS Warm-Up, there's a picture of Gavin on a beach with a phone.
Do you know what my favourite thing about foreign correspondents is? When they do that, when they talk to the news from a foreign country, when they go, one cab driver told me earlier, the people can't take it anymore. They're downtrodden and beleaguered. They just want a decent leader. And you're thinking, isn't it amazing? Everyone else's cab drivers just comes out with these great sound bites that are perfect. They always manage to find a cab driver. Funny, you found a cab driver who perfectly encapsulated exactly what you're trying to get across. You know, they're just lying.
But also, it's the cab driver that's taken from the hotel to the hotel from the airport.
No, they don't even exist. They just use it just to park the quote they really want. Anyway, how are you this week, James? You all right?
Yeah, great. It's that time of the footballing year when everyone's getting released.
Yeah.
That's all that's in the news.
Oh, man, it's a heartbreak time. I'm reading on the back page now. David Lewis and maybe Eden Hazard.
But you know what I think Mourinho's doing there? He's just getting rid of everybody that was good.
Yeah, everyone
under the last manager.
Yeah, I know.
Who he doesn't like.
I sometimes wonder if he's a bit of a sort of George Graham figure. If he's that kind of just wants one player's allowed to have a bit of flair up front, and apart from that, he just wants everyone just to work away at the back. Well, workhorses.
It's hard work if George is your manager.
Yeah.
It is very hard work.
I could tell you some stories. Did you hear Goffey and Durham this week?
No, I didn't go on.
Well, with no football really on, my sport now has just become Talk Sport. That's it. I treat each show like an event. That's the sport.
Do you listen all the hours that you're in the car?
I've just become addicted.
Do you listen at home?
It's shocking.
Do you know you can watch it on television?
Can you?
You can watch it on Virgin, can't you? You can. It's probably on our idents. You could watch us now. If you go to the Virgin, whatever the channel is.
No, you can't see us now.
Yeah, you can.
I haven't signed up for that.
I don't know. Maybe they'll tell us.
That's just outrageous.
You can't do that. Oh, no, you can't. In the week, though, they tweet that they announce you can listen.
Oh,
you can.
Goffey this week.
Oh, not the weekend. The weekend shows don't count for visibility.
Goffey this week's just been a treat. He's just been absolutely brilliant. I was saying earlier to Georgie and Quinn.
Yeah, it's fancy football.
They've got to start playing fancy football. We're running that for our World Cup.
Who was he talking about?
Can't remember. But
we're going to do a lot of World Cup. 6 hours a weekend.
Are we?
3 hours on Saturday, 3 hours on Sunday.
Do you know something? I'd love more of these. I heard the best ever caller on. I think it was on Durham and Goffey. He was a West Ham fan, right? He says, my 7-year-old son, last season, he said to me, this is my 7-year-old boy. He said he's. What the kid's done is he's boycotted West Ham Tottenham. Because, Dad, they ain't doing what you taught me to do. Football should be played on the ground.
Fancy football.
Fancy football.
Fancy football.
Fancy football. Imagine that, a 7-year-old making a stand. I pulled the car over, I was actually crying. I was thinking to have a 7-year-old boy who understands what the West Ham way is all about. Dad, this ain't what you raised me with. Football should be played on the ground.
You know what? I wonder what little kids are going to make about Yaya Toure announcing. Well, his agent announced that because Man City didn't get him a big enough cake, which wasn't even true. The players had got him a cake.
It's unbelievable.
Because the club didn't make a statement whilst on their trip to the Middle East to meet their owners.
Yeah.
He's going to leave. because he's not got a big enough
Did
cake.
you hear Durham about that?
No.
Oh, Durham was priceless. Do you know what Durham said? He says, have Manchester City got the stature to keep big players? I was laughing, man. I was thinking, that's awesome. He's really opened up a can of worms. How far back do you have to take a club's history before you sort of say, because I don't believe they have. They have found traces of literally Neanderthals there who have got slight red on them, a pigmentation to show red support and a non-opposable thumb. That means they are Man United Neanderthals. I think that gives them a bigger stature and a longer history.
Can you imagine how Fergie would have responded to that?
I don't know. Well, I'll tell you something. Do you know what? I've got a brand new feature here for you.
Yeah.
This is something I heard during the week, and it just this is like has anyone noticed the similarity? On radio, you can't really do lookalikes, yeah, but you can do soundalikes. Okay, this is a section of the show I'm going to kick off with, and it's. Am I doing it now or after the break? I'm just trying to think. I'll do it now. I'm going to kick off.
Do it now.
Show.
Keep going.
You ready
Now.
for this? Okay, this is priceless. Okay, this is Fergie. And I heard this on TalkSport this week. It made me laugh so much. It's a real, if only they knew then what we now know. Okay, this is Fergie on Moyes at the start. Here we go. Listen
when we had bad times here, the club stood by me. All my staff stood by me. The players stood by me. Your job now is to stand by our new manager.
Okay.
That sounds like ancient Rome.
Okay, well, look, check this, okay? I was thinking, what does that remind me of? Not only is he wrong, but the whole tone of it. And this is exactly what it reminded me of. You ready?
I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine.
Peace in our time. So I think we're going to start a feature soon, because I suddenly realised it's only in sport, only the sports section, can people be so sports journalists they can just come out with such bile, such hatred, such opinion about people, and the next day it's completely forgotten. And it's the same with managers. They just come out with these things, and it's just forgotten.
Yeah, but he even sounded like he didn't believe himself. When you listen, I've never heard that before.
But the tone's unbelievable. I have in my hand a piece of paper. Would you please back David Moyes? It's just exactly.
Please.
It's a brilliant one. Anyway, it's 11:14. This is your warm-up. It's just me and Jimmy Brown today, but we're not going to let that spoil the fun.
No.
Join us in a couple of seconds. We're going down the River Nile. We've got loads of stuff for you. Stay with us. This is the warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan. It's 11:19. We're coming to you in association with Capital One, the credit card that supports the supporters and indeed us. Right, James, what was our texting today?
Yes, well, this morning it was chucking it down, so we wanted to know what are the worst conditions you have ever played in or watched in. We've got loads in already. Chaz Nuki Burden on Twitter says, I got absolutely soaked at Fulham Arsenal last season. By chance I'd taken an empty plastic bag, so my phone survived. Okay. He's gone advanced. He's like the Ray Mears
really good,
of football. Take a plastic bag.
There should be a show like that. Like a football survivalist. just getting drunk. I tell you, I felt it once when I went to Sunderland. I started off sunny, then hail, then snow, then blizzard. Losing before snow, then won as opposition team wore white. Couldn't string a pass together.
Who's that?
Genius. That's from Andy Dyson. I've also got Luke. My under-16s game a few years back had to take corners 10 yards in because the corners were flooded.
Tris Imp on Twitter says, I was on a six-a-side in heavy snow, zero visibility. I dug a square out in front of our goal and I stood in it for the whole game. 1-0 win.
Barnsley versus Arsenal, League Cup 1995, uncovered end, lashed down for 90 minutes. Programme ended up like papier-mâché.
Like retro football weather news.
Yeah, let's have it. Do you know what? I once went up to Oldham for a midweeker.
Chelsea Oldham?
Yeah, Chelsea Oldham. I went up all on my own. I couldn't find anyone who wanted to go, so I drove all in my little Renault.
And not in your mum's car?
No, it was my granny's old car. Funny enough, it was my granny's old car. And
in those days, you would take any form of transport to get there.
But I was in this little Renault 5, and I was driving up there, and it was at the stage when you're in a car, and every car that passes you just seems to be luxury. I'm sort of driving along in mine, it's like... You're having to literally grip the steering wheel. Every time you overtake a lorry, you're literally going through like the tunnel of death with the rain coming down. Anyway, I got up to Oldham, and it was just complete fog. I actually couldn't see.
No ball? No orange ball?
No orange ball. I couldn't see the away end. We suddenly sort of heard a rumour that we'd scored. It's like a rumour got back to us. We go, they've scored! They've scored. We just heard a little groan, and gradually the news got back to us in the Chelsea end. We'd actually scored. There was a big cheer went up. It's a real waste of time, actually, come to think of it.
It's a long drive to Oldham.
And there was trouble with the police.
You know,
it kicked off.
When I was a kid, we used to go and play the pennines. Like, this sounds like the Hovis ad.
No, it sounds like you're just lying.
We did. I used to the school team I played for, Launceswood, we played in like a whole West Yorkshire league. Yeah. So there were about 4 teams from Leeds and the rest from all over West Yorkshire. And we used to go to these places that you'd only heard of because they had brass bands. Like Rastrick and Batley. I remember playing Batley Grammar, and there was
Desford.
There was cow muck all over it.
Really?
It was like there was snow. There was snow in the Pennines.
James,
in autumn.
That's the most northern thing I've ever heard. You'd only heard of some of these teams because of a colliery band. That's just so
It wasn't
northern.
colliery. This was mountains.
I used to quite get into that show, The Best of Brass, years ago. Do you remember? It was just colliery bands. I remember actually getting into it so much week by week. I developed a strange affiliation for Desford Colliery.
Was it on Radio 2?
It was on BBC. No, it was on BBC 2. And I actually developed a bit of a following. I'm thinking, great, Desford Colliery. I just like the
live footage of brass bands.
They had competing brass bands on telly from all these different collieries.
Have you heard
Desford took it?
Have you heard Jeremy Della's Acid Brass?
No.
Jeremy Della, great artist.
Yeah.
The first project he did where anyone really heard of him was he got a brass band to play all the Acid House greats.
Oh, man.
But I loved it.
Did it work?
It was fantastic. But I talked to my mate Dave Beer, who's a big Acid House aficionado. He was horrified.
Do you know what?
He said it's the thing I loved. It's just being mocked. But I thought it was brilliant. Acid Brass.
I wanted to get a proper concert choir and orchestra together to sing the hits of the Terraces. I'd love a big concert choir going, "You're going home in a ambulance." And seriously, when I was just a little boy.
There's a clip on YouTube. A fella called Theo Delaney did it. He took an opera singer outside Highbury. And he got her to sing anti-Arsenal songs.
Really?
I don't know what it is on
Is that
YouTube.
True?
It's true. A fella called Theo Delaney did it. Sam Delaney, who works on this station, his brother Theo did it. He's a Spurs fan, and he got this opera singer. She just walks up. I think she's got a little anorak and a trolley. And she just sings
I just like the whole concert choir. I'd love to hear the famous Tottenham Hotspur went to Rome to see the Pope with a proper concert choir. And it always, sorry, do you know what? Here's me yakking.
Yeah, we've got to go over to a cafe bar.
We've got to take a stop at a cafe bar and let's have an espresso while we enjoy. Well, it's time for somebody's going to get their ass kicked.
Cafe bars.
Somebody gonna get their ass kicked. Somebody gonna get their wings licked. Somebody gonna get their ass kicked. Somebody gonna get their wings licked.
We welcome back to the show the man, the legend, Dean Windus. How are you this morning, Dean?
Good morning, Johnny.
How are you? Good morning. How are you today, Dean?
I'm okay, thank you. Weather's not very good.
Have you been to a cafe bar?
Not this morning, no.
Haven't you?
No, I'm still in bed.
You're still in bed? So this is Dean live from bed.
What sheets have you got, Dean? Is it like, is it like racing car duvet or posh Egyptian linen? What sort of bedding do you have?
Racing car duvets, Hull City tops and everything.
Have you? No, go on, just describe your
What's your view from your bed?
What's my view from my bed?
Is there anyone in there with you?
A conservatory.
You live in a conservatory.
All you can see from your bed.
What's my view from my bed? I've just looked out my window. There's a conservatory in the shed.
No, that's the view. That's the view from your window. What's the view when you're lying in your bed? What can you see?
What can I see?
Yeah. What's on the side of your bed?
Yeah. Go on. Just take us through your bedside table.
Hold on, there's clothes all over the floor.
The floor drobe.
The floor drobe.
I've got that shit. What do I do with my floor at home? Yeah,
I've got OCD and it's stressing me out.
Really, you're getting rewound up about it because I'm similar. I'm approaching a folding up day, but I find at the moment I've got so many clothes that are what I call in play. They're not dirty. They're not clean.
Yeah, what do you do with them?
They remain in the floor drobe. They're sort of there with a chair and sort of
then they get worse because they're in a pile on the chair.
I know, but that's what they're sort of in play. I don't want to put something vaguely dirty back. I sound like a real sort of...
Dino, do you ever wear football shirts that you used to wear for matches?
No.
Do you ever wear a football shirt, and think, I better take this off?
No.
Do you ever wear a
Good,
shirt?
we've got that cleared up. What prompts you to wear a shirt? Hey, look, it's playoffs day. That's why we're talking to
before we go there, do you know what? Unfortunately,
We've got to stay in the bedroom.
No, wait a second. The word shed's just come in, and
yeah.
that's one of my words. That's like a key word for me.
Yeah.
I've always got to double click it.
You've got a Google shed alert in your brain.
I have. Is that your shed outside?
No.
It's not. Whose shed is
No.
it? Whose shed is
all my shirts, when I played football, they're in my shed, actually.
it? He keeps his football shirts in his shed.
I shouldn't say that, should I?
No, you might want to move them inside now.
Do you know,
I know, yeah.
That's one of the most manly things I've ever heard. He's got a shed full of old football shirts.
But are they shirts that you swapped, not
Yeah.
shirts that you played in?
No, shirts that I swapped, yeah. All in frames.
How many have you got in there? In the
Oh, I can't tell you now because people will be bagling me in about half an hour.
Hang on, wait a second. How big's your shed?
Quite big.
It's massive.
Is it?
Is it one of those posh sheds that's like an office, or is it a
Do you
proper
want to know
shed?
the most famous one in that shed?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Thierry Henry's.
You got a framed Thierry Henry shirt in your shed?
Yes.
Have you got-
Signed as well?
Have you got a dartboard in the shed?
No.
Have you got tea making facilities?
I've got a fridge with loads of beers in it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Do you know sometimes what I find hilarious, this is with my mum and dad, is that my dad, you could see, felt really one up because he was down the bottom of the garden in the shed. And like if his mate came round, you go, he's in the shed. And they go down there. I thought, isn't it amazing that you got a couple of blokes in a wooden hut at the end of the garden and they think they've got one up?
I refuse to do it.
They've got one up on my mum, who's actually got a whole house. I think
Exactly.
You know, she's quite comfy.
Your mate
Yeah.
goes, I've got my own room down the bottom of the
Yeah,
garden.
yeah.
It's like you've bought a whole house.
It's amazing.
And you're in a shed with your records.
It's amazing. I'm working my whole life to pay this mortgage off.
live in a
But I
shed.
think I've had a right touch because I've got a wooden hut at the end she lets me go to. But you imagine the other way around. How many women are out there and suddenly goes, a woman comes and goes, is your mum? And I go, yeah, she's down in a wooden hut at the bottom of the garden. All the men folk are in the brick building.
With all her beauty products.
Yes. She's just down there and they're just looking at a washing machine they're fixing.
Going round.
My dad was part of a kind of shed ring where they all...
A shed fair.
A shed? No, it was a shed ring where each of his mates had a different skill to justify. I've got to go round because he's the only one who can fix the washing machine. He's the only one who can fix lawnmowers.
He was sheducated.
He was
Sheducated in washing
Hey, thank you very much, Dean. How did you used to warm up for playoffs?
Was it different? You were more tense or more vibed up?
Well, it wasn't raining anyway. This time, 2008, it was absolutely boiling, so I'd be happy to be playing in the rain today, I think.
But how does it feel waking up the morning of a playoff? How did you feel?
I couldn't sleep, Johnny. I used to room with Brian Hughes, so we used to I'd wake up in the morning, and then I'd go downstairs and have breakfast, read the papers, and then go sit outside because it was absolutely boiling. But I was a little bit nervous, to be quite honest.
So if most players are like that, then you're looking at quite a lot of tired men who are just running on adrenaline out there, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think that obviously, sometimes the occasion can get to you. It'll be an exciting day for Derby and QPR today, but it's a great occasion. I think that the one thing about it.
Well, James was taking me through you were telling me about Ken Bates, James. Go on, tell us what you were saying to me earlier.
You make more money, don't you, from going through the playoffs? You've got 3 extra games.
It's 120 million now, isn't it?
You get more money.
How much is it, Dean?
120 million.
Wow,
today.
man, that's bigger than winning
You get
the Champions League.
You get 3 televised games. You get Wembley, and you get the money that you get from going into the Premiership. So you get more money. QPR and Derby will make more money today, with whoever wins, than Leicester or Burnley.
So if Man City can't trade their way out of financial problems,
they could get relegated
next
and come
season
back.
they should deliberately get relegated, then just come up the next season and get the 120 to bring them back.
Hey, Dean, can I ask you, when that ball came out to you and you volleyed it against Reading, did you know it was going? Because it was a brilliant goal. It was one of the best ever playoff final, winning goals. Did you know it was going in?
Well, it was against Bristol City, not Reading.
Sorry, not Reading. Sorry, Bristol City.
No, yeah, of course. I think that you do it every day in training and it goes in the trees or it smashes somebody's windows or whatever. But yeah, when Fraser Campbell chipped it back, that's one. Then do you have a touch? But I was that tired. I thought, well, I'll just hit it. And it was only 39 minutes, and I just hit it, and I knew when it left my right foot, I knew it was in.
Is that a joke? You were that tired?
Honestly, it was that
You were
low on the
knackered.
day. Yeah, oh God, I'd gone, yeah.
What a
Even when I
feat.
walked
So I
out-
just love
39 minutes he'd gone.
No, as soon as it left his foot, he knew it was in.
Yeah, it was a brilliant
39
goal.
minutes, 39 minold. It was The writing was on the wall, wasn't it?
Of course it was. Of course it was. I wish I'd known back then. I'd have bet on that. It seems so obvious
It was
now.
a brilliant goal. I was just to the side, I was by the corner flag, and on the goal it went in. It flew in.
Normally it's the corner flag.
No, it does. Dean, don't put yourself down, mate. Don't put yourself down.
Hey, Johnny, it's done now.
Can I just ask you
It's done
something? Dean, you know when you've got that kind of adrenaline going round you?
Yeah.
Does that last? Like, is that going for the whole game? Like, when I was at school, I remember sometimes we used to do like the 1500, and on the last lap, you suddenly got that sort of, get that sort of giddy feeling in your legs. You know, when I was miles out in front.
You've got
it was
the
just,
Chariots of Fire music.
goes for home. And, there was never that. But
seriously, I just couldn't believe it when they went in the top corner. I just couldn't believe it. I think that.
Who do you think's going to win today, Dean? Because we've got to wrap this up. Who's going to win today? QPR Millwall. What do you reckon?
QPR derby.
We've got all the facts here.
Sorry, QPR
It's just
derby.
the thing we do, Dean. We always get one team wrong.
Sorry, I've got a Millwall caller on the line. That's what I was going to say. That I
My
lied.
old boss, Steve McCallum's done a fantastic job when I was at Middlesbrough, but I think that I'm going to go for Queen's Park Rangers because the experience.
Okay, what about Millwall? Sorry.
Can I ask you?
What about Millwall?
So I don't know where that came into my head. Go
I
on.
play football with this bloke, and he's getting on a bit, and he commentates to himself. I can hear him.
I do that.
Oh, Johnny.
No, not Johnny. You
It
do
is
as well.
all right. It is me.
Dino, do you ever do that when you're playing? Do you go back to the playground and you're commentating as you're going through a game?
No.
Will you be going to any cafe bars later today?
No.
Okay, that's all we want to know. It's 11:33 right here on
Thanks,
TalkSport.
Dino. You've been brilliant.
Cheers,
as ever.
Dino's
Thank
been
you.
fantastic.
Bye-bye.
Take care, matey. Dean Windass giving an insight to playoff day. I don't know where did Millwall come into my head then.
Don't know. I got Bristol City wrong. I was at the game.
Who do you think's going to win? QPR Derby. Come on,
I
what are
want
we gonna-
Derby to win.
Do you?
But I told you in the midweek, it's purely because then QPR stay in the league that the team I support is in, so
Yeah.
I can go and watch them in London after our show. Also, I like
What is it? You want QPR to stay down purely for your own personal convenience?
totally. But also, I like QPR's ground. I've got a lot of fun memories of QPR.
you're
I
a-
saw Brian Glover at QPR once.
Back in black.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go international today. The third wheel of the show.
Live from the Southern Hemisphere.
Gavin, what's your vibe today, hey?
Hi guys.
What's your vibe? What's your vibe there, Gav?
Ja, nou lekker. Hey, Brit, my vibe is definitely braai based. We've actually got the braai sitting there with the dry wood ready to go on it later on.
When I was in South Africa last, Gav, I don't know if you want to start this business when you're out there. I wanted to start a new app called the Braai Phone.
What is the braai?
A braai's a barbecue. A braai phone where people can just order up meat that's then prepared for you. You just put in the amount of South Africans you've got to entertain, and it'll work out the amount of meat you'll need for it, and you can just pick it up
And
in a box.
where your location
And
is.
where your location is, and you'll get delivered meat for your braai and a modicum of salad, hey? Gav, how's everything going over there? Because I know you've been doing some sterling work. Just tell us a bit about that before we crack in.
Yeah, it's been an amazing week. I was here mainly to open the Donald Wood Centre, which is a huge building my brothers raised money for. And it's a training centre for health and education. And the Foundation's flagship programme is to map for every hut in a 2,000 square kilometre area. And we go to every hut and we provide health screening for HIV, diabetes, TB, hypertension for every person, 300,000 people in the area. It's a really rural area where everyone lives all spread out in
It took
different huts.
300,000 people, Gav.
That's the game. Since last June, we've managed 20,000 so far.
And they live in huts.
Yeah, they all live in huts in a really rural area. That's the whole point of it is that they don't get health care because they're not living near
You're like the
hospitals,
flying
so-
doctor.
Well, he sort of is. Gav, what's it been like, sort of going around as a kind of a sort of a dignitary? Because I know, well, I spoke to you before you went. You were saying it's going to be quite odd for you. This.
It is odd. I'm not used to it, but it's been amazing. I mean, they're so happy for what we're doing. It's brilliant. We've been going out with the health workers and watching them how they screen. They have a laptop and they map each hut with a GPS device because that data doesn't exist so far. It's quite a pioneering setup. So we're collecting data that no one's got. Then we we try to follow up when people have been screened for HIV. We go back if they don't continue to get to the clinic for antiretroviral drugs and things like that. So it's been amazing. I mean,
listen, Gav, I knew your dad, and I'm sure. Well, we know he'd have been so proud of not anything and what you're doing out there. Well, Gav, give it up for Gav, ladies and gentlemen. Out there doing it.
Anyway,
Gav,
back in black.
Let's back to refereeing.
Yeah. Back in black, the Champions League. We'll do the Champions League game first.
Yeah, get down off your big dignitary high horse.
yes.
Prince.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your opinion on the Champions League, first of all.
Yeah, it's the Madrid derby. It's Bjorn Kuipers, the Dutch ref, the one that we discussed really early in this programme in the season. He was talking about how difficult it was to find out about simulation.
Yes.
He's quite cardy. You remember we spoke last week about how Lee Probert never gives any cards or pens or anything.
Right.
In the FA Cup final, he turned down at least 2 proper Stonewall pen calls for handballs and various incidents in that game. But, Bjorn Kuipers, he's given, what is it now? He's given a red in half his Champions League games this season. He's given 16 yellows and 2 reds. And it's 7 yellows in the Man U versus Olympiacos second leg match. It's 4 yellows a game. So the Madrid derby is going to be quite feisty anyway. They're probably going to give out quite... He's probably going to be quite cardy, I reckon.
Okay, you're going to be quite cardy.
Yeah,
he's going to be very cardy.
He's a card-happy ref.
No, I just like this new word,
not just that, but Atletico and Real have played each other in 4 games this season, and there's been 22 cards in those 4 matches. So it's going to be quite cardy, I reckon.
That's more cards. That's a lot more cards than Man City got Yaya Toure.
See how Gav laughs at your refereeing humour. He just loves card gags. All right, Gav, next, the playoffs. What do we think?
Yeah, Lee Mason. He's the one that Brendan Rodgers didn't like for being from the greater Manchester area. He won't apply for this game, obviously. But he's quite cardy as well.
Is he?
He's done 35 fixtures. He's given 110 yellows and 5 reds. That's 1 red in 7 games.
Yeah.
And 3.2 yellows per game.
Is the red card stat, is that a lot, 1 in 7?
No, it's kind of even. Do you remember Lee Probert did 1 in 10?
Yeah.
Phil Dowd did 1 in 4.
Wow.
Yeah, Phil Dowd likes the camera.
Is he top of the red league, is he?
I think he is, yeah. I think he did 4.6 yellows a game this season, Phil Dowd, something like that.
Gav, are you going to do this for the World Cup?
He's across this, isn't he?
Are you going to do this for the World Cup? Will you be our special World Cup shows?
That's brilliantly brought in to build the fact we are all over your World Cup, maybe even twice a week, the rate we're going. We're in talks. Let's just say we're in talks.
How are we going to cram 10 minutes of content into 6 hours a weekend?
Because we're going to do a lot of pre-records with Darren Goff.
Gav, think about all of the new material you've got for World of Referees.
They do it every day.
Do you know what? I'm looking forward to it because I don't know the refs in the World Cup.
Exactly.
There'll be a few that we know, obviously, from Europe, but I'm going to look at, obviously, we'll do World Cup back in backs, won't we?
Yeah, and also, we're going to tell you another bit of content we've got. Some of the national anthems go on for up to 7 minutes for the full versions of them. I've done on YouTube, so that's 7 minutes full. We're going to be okay here.
We've got all the boring group games, the 0-0s, where no one wants to get scored against.
We've got loads of mad haircuts. There's going to be mad referees. We've got Fancy Football League, which is what I heard Darren Goff chatting about earlier this week. Fancy football.
Fancy football.
That's Darren.
Fancy football.
Fancy football. So we've got all that.
Fancy Dan football.
Oh, he's a right. I tell you, he's a right Bobby Dazzler, that one out there. He's a right.
Keeps ball on floor.
He's a right Bobby. He's a right Charlie Big Potatoes. Gav, anything else to report, Gav? Anything else you want to discuss?
Well, I did want to congratulate Manuel Pellegrini and Arsene Wenger for being specialists in success.
Oh, do you know what's amazing, Gav? You weren't here on Monday, but on Monday already there was an Arsenal fan on the phone going, "He's got to spend some money. We need a strike." I'm thinking, you're either saying Arsene Wenger's. If you're saying Arsene Wenger's hasn't spent enough money and he's not a good manager, you sort of think, hang on, he's won the FA Cup and he's got a place in Europe. He must be quite a good manager on the grounds that he's done that without spending any money.
The FA Cup final.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, yeah. Or
That's not bad.
That's not bad. But I'm saying he's got a top 4 place. You say won the FA Cup final, then they complain he hasn't spent enough money and he's not buying players, so he can't be that good a manager. It's you can't be both. Gav, thank you very much for joining us. We'll meet you. We'll speak to you later for the predictions. Yeah.
Yeah. What games are we doing? I don't even know.
We're not going to tell you.
Just go in blind like I do. That's Gavin Woods. Later on, we'll be asking what his vibe is for the predictions, hey? Meantime, it's 11:48. We'll speak to you later, Gav. 11:48 right here on your warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan, joined by James Brown, our third wheel out there in South Africa doing sterling work. This is the warm-up on TalkSport. Thanks to Capital One, official credit card of the Football League. We're back in a sec. It's 11:52. This is the warm-up on TalkSport. Jim's laughing because we were talking earlier about the floordrobe. These are the clothes that are what I call in play. Here's an example. Dan Ward has just texted in to say some great quotes I can use when my missus moans at me. I'm approaching a folding up day, and the clothes are still in play. These are two phrases I use regularly.
John Neve tweets in, says Bill Murray in Ghostbusters 2 being asked about his floordrobe. There isn't just clean and dirty. There are many subtle levels.
There's so subtle a levels.
I've never heard that phrase before, but you are spot on. When I used to work on the NME, about every 3 weeks I'd wear a suit.
Yeah.
And Karen, the editor's secretary, would go, "Oh, you look very smart, James." They all thought I've got a job interview or something, prison, whatever. And it was like everything had gone off the floor. The floor was unwearable.
I tell you what, it's the purgatory of smart casual that really stays in there. Like that smarter trouser that you just wear. When you get home, you think I'm going to take that off because that'll get dirty and I can use it. I'm only going to wear these just literally for lunch. And then they're coming off because I've got smart lunch. I'm going to off that. I've got to go dog walking, wear some jeans. They can stay in the floordrobe for years sometimes before I've got another smart casual occasion.
But also, you have your clothes piled up in a very haphazard way that makes them wearable.
Yeah.
And then your missus or the cleaner, whoever, comes in and puts them in the washing machine.
Oh, no, it drives me mad.
Or whatever. It's like, why have you done that? We've had 4 days more wearing that.
They're still in play, particularly because jeans are best on day 2. By about day 5, and here's one of the great mysteries. Why do jeans start smelling of potatoes? Do your jeans do that?
They smell of potatoes.
Sometimes my jeans sort of smell, after about sort of 4 days, I get a sort of smell of just like potatoes off them.
What I don't understand is jeans is...
Do you ever get that? Is that
no,
just me?
Never. That's
is that just my legs?
That's just you. Why
I give myself away. They don't really.
Why doesn't a jeans manufacturer make an extra strengthened crotch? Because they always go in the crotch.
Mine, all right.
Mine too.
I know, but you're one of those guys who just always sort of...
Now.
I know yours do, but I'll tell you why that is, James. Because the way you
burst through.
But you always do that sort of itchy thing, like you've got a phantom cricket ball in your hand.
I'm never touching my crotch.
You're just sort of giving it a bit of a polish on the run-up. But there's just no cricket ball there. It's just done with your sort of fingernails. You've always got a sort of what I call a side scratch. just to the
anyway,
right.
moving on. Jay in Winchester, on the subject of weather, says the Chelsea versus Bruges, you might have been there in 1995, the uncovered shed end, the temporary stand, would not have been better if I jumped into the river off Putney Bridge.
Nice. Do you know what, James? The other thing I wanted to discuss, I don't know if we've got time for this morning, or if I'm... actually, do you know what?
You went into it. That's why I was laughing.
OK, I'll do that 1 second. It was raining and hailing so hard in one game, the ref had to put a coat on.
Who's that? Who said that?
That's from... doesn't say... Oh, yes, it does. That's from Matt Katzer. Sorry, Matt Kaiser. Thank you very much indeed for that, Matt.
I've got one here. Richard has tweeted in. He said, Republica Highland versus the Travellers, Bramley Top, that's in Leeds. Howling gale, mud like the Somme, rain like knives.
The rain coming down like knives.
Very descriptive there, Richard.
It's beautiful. It's lovely use of English language. The other thing I wanted to discuss this morning, I don't know if you want to text us about this, as well as describing the state of your floordrobe and exactly how many clothes you have in play at the moment and how your missus, or if you're a woman, how your mister reacts to that. The other thing I enjoy on Saturdays, one of my favourite days of the week in terms of clothing, is because around Wandsworth, where I live, you can really enjoy, there's a lot of city people around there, and you can really enjoy searching for breakfast clothes. The most dramatic combinations down at Sainsbury's Local in the morning. So you'll see some like tracksuit bottoms with a brogue, a city shirt, then over the top of the sort of city shirt there'd be, I don't know, a hoodie, and then just kind of like a sort of woolly hat.
They struggle.
That's not a right combo. You can't.
Searching for breakfast clothes, they've struggled to get out of the work clothes and go cash.
No, it's just literally they've just picked them off the floordrobe, haven't they? It's some things that as they fell.
Is it Posh City or Working Class City made good with Cash City?
James, that's the thing. You can walk around, you can grade. You sort of think, what is this hybrid? They're like mules, hybrid men.
The worst searching for breakfast experience I've heard of is my mate Jeff Storer. Well, he said it to me once. He was so hungover that he got out of the house, into the car, reversed 100 yards to the shop.
Oh, that's genius.
Went in, got whatever he needed for the hangover, got back in, drove forward again. And it wasn't even 100 yards. It was like about 7 houses.
He just reversed.
He had a clear run. He drove.
What was that? What was the film with Robert De Niro directed with Chaz Palmintano and Chaz Palmintero? Where he's the gangster who always
not Wag the Dog. Something like that. Bill Murray in it.
No. It was a gangster film, and he just backs up the car.
Oh, it's great.
He just I think it's the only film De Niro's directed.
New York Story. Is it something?
No, he backs the car all the way to the things. He doesn't like doing a U-turn. Look, do you know what I love? Jambo only knows about sport. He's like, I don't know this world you're talking about. Is there a ball in it, or some players?
I've just watched.
Jambo, I've never seen him look so blank. He's looking. It's like
it's a great film.
I know what he's doing. Films, Jambo, are things that they're not necessarily about sport. He's just looking like he doesn't care. He just went. Move it on, please, guys.
You might as well be talking Hungarian.
No one wants to hear about this now. No one wants to hear. It's not about sport. It's outside my
this so-called Hollywood.
my skill set there now. And the Jambo's just playing. He just doesn't. He literally doesn't care what the film's called.
Is it called Brooklyn Stories? I just watched it a month ago.
What is it called?
De Niro plays the bus driver.
Yeah, he's the bus. He's
I've
an
just
honest,
watched it.
and his son's going to be a gangster. And
do you know
a Bronx Tale?
A Bronx Tale.
I've got to tell you, that came from the only woman in the box. It didn't come from Jambo or Steve or the other.
The other check shirt, big country looking production type fella.
The other anorex.
Trapped in 1984's fashions. Doc Martens, Levi's, and the old check shirt.
If you look at,
there's another one here. There's another check shirt just walked in.
Honestly, they are like that big.
They're spreading. They're like check shirt, big country zombies.
It really is. But the band Big Country.
Yeah, life before brands. Doc Martens, Levi's, roll the waves.
The only brands they wear are things like Club Sport.
Yeah. Steve's got Adidas glasses. He's got all the right brands on all the wrong items.
Jambo's got an Adidas watch.
Yeah, he's got a Dolce & Gabbana necktie.
No, that's okay.
That's
not a sporting brand. Yeah, he's got Gola socks. It's 11:59. We're back in a couple of seconds. 12:08. This is the warm-up on TalkSport. I'm playing this because I think this is what Harry Redknapp should always walk out to. Seriously, just jack it up a bit here.
If you want to,
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the manager of QPR, Harry Redknapp.
right people, right time, just the wrong location.
I always think when Harry Redknapp's talking, it looks like, because he sort of jolts his head around a bit and does that, it looks like they've had to censor out very carefully him swearing every third word. The other thing that just occurred to me, on the screen at the moment on Sky Sports 4, good Lord, that's like ESPN, The Ocho on Dodgeball. They've got Tony Jacklin.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to have a film, Day of the Jacklin, where he's got to take out George Bush with a golf ball? That's what he's been paid to do, taking out world leaders with golf balls.
He looks in pain, Jacqueline, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He looks. Or actually, do you know what he looks like? His default sort of faces. He looks like if we did a wide shot, he'd be on the Carsey, struggling.
That's what I'm saying. He looks
struggling with a big un. Anyway, let's crack on. Is it? I have to tell you, I was in some degree of discomfort. Sorry, it's an old story here, which my producer liked, about a driver who once asked...
He was in discomfort.
And I was in some degree of discomfort, I can tell you. And it was a driver, he stopped off at some guy's house, he wanted to use the car. He'd been in traffic for 2.5 hours, really needed to go. He was 65 years old.
How ungrateful.
Got to the stockbroker's house, just goes, do you mind if I use your toilet? And he goes, yes, I do, let's crack on. Straight back. It's one of my favourite ever stories.
I've just got to get this in. Yeah. Talk about being ungrateful in the bad weather.
Ungrateful. Ungrateful is a word normally used... Oh, sorry.
Dave Rowson, Southampton away with Leeds, Old Dell, open end, monsoon, lost 4-0, wet through, future mother-in-law. Well, at least you saw some goals. You lost 4-0.
That's beautiful. Wait a second, before we go to the outsider, can I just say, the texting today, we're looking for your wardrobe stories.
Yeah.
These are the clothes that are in play. I'd also just adding a special here, hashtag searching for breakfast gear. I just want the best combinations. It's generally a mixture between what you work in, what you wore on Saturday night, and some sort of sportswear. In a kind of...
There was a period a few years ago when women were going to the shop in their pyjamas and their Ugg boots.
Yes.
Especially in Liverpool.
Men do that. Round Wandsworth.
Have you got Ugg boots?
No, I haven't. No. But do you know those people?
Have you got a pyjama?
Yeah, I've got. No, I've got sometimes, but I don't wear them in bed. I wear them for sort of lounging around the house. But do you know what those people look like in searching for breakfast clothes? Do you remember those things you used to get where there's like 3 different characters?
Yeah, and you would mix up in like frogman's legs, farmer's trousers, policeman's jacket.
Yeah, fireman's hat. Yeah, right. That's kind of the searching for breakfast gear we're looking for out there. Also, appalling weather at games. I know only Danny Baker can keep plates like this spinning, and we're simply not good enough, which is why...
We have got a corker in.
Which is why we didn't make the medals table. Go on.
You're gonna,
the medals podium.
You're going to have to struggle to beat this. This is from Steve. I used to go to the Middlesbrough Riverside Stadium with my ex-brother-in-law. He was so sick of being constantly cold and wet, he wore his scuba diving dry suit one night. That is the best.
That's a weird clothing, bad weather story in one. Sometimes this show just
Can you imagine
works.
the looks we got when we stood in the queue for a beer? It was like I did a match with Jacques Cousteau.
do you Jacques Cousteau, yeah? He's one of the big... Well, he was one of the big BS'ers.
Really?
Yeah, because he only filming it on 16mm. He never got any of it live. He always was, the water is milky. And he used to say, the water was always milky when we went in. And suddenly you'd see something amazing. He was just a got to admire. He was just a sort of liar.
Yeah, but come on, you've got to admire a bloke. He was the trailblazer for turning your holidays into a career. Come on, he's on a yacht. He's got his family there. They're swimming around, and he films it.
Actually, his son died, didn't he? Under the.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his son died there. Actually, do you know what I once did? Are we going to go to the outsider in a second, or do you know what I once did? Once when I was late for work. Yeah. And I don't know, I told you this story. I was late for
a broadcasting job?
No, it wasn't. It's when I worked in a cafe bar.
Oh,
I worked as a grill chef, and I was late. And I was really late for work, and I happened to have a roll. I'd been swimming, yeah, but the day before. But then I'd had a bit of a dirty stop out, so I arrived and I still had this rolled up towel on my trunk.
Starting to smell a bit.
Yeah, and I walked in. But the thing is, my manager at the time was American. He had been a college swimmer, and he trained with Mark Spitz back in the 70s. He was going to be a great swimmer. Yeah, so he says to me, he says, have you been swimming, Johnny? I go, yeah, I've just been swimming. And it was fine. It was cool. So then I started arriving late in the mornings.
He respected it.
He respected it because I've been swimming. And then he said, can I come swimming with you one morning? And I was like, it was at Fulham Pools. I'm like, yeah, it's fine, yeah, you can come swimming. So he met me at Fulham Pools, 6 in the morning. I thought, sorry, I've actually got to get up for this. So this guy Neil's arrived. He's a massive bloke, proper swimmer. He's arrived there, ready for swimming. And he goes, so what do you normally do? He goes, just take me through your normal routine. And I've gone, well, normally I'll start like this. I went in with a bomb. I went in with this bomb. He looked at me like, you're mad. And then I said, then I'll see how many whips I can do underwater. He just thought this is your normal routine. And I don't know, I was quite juvenile, obviously. But at one point, there was a bit in Fulham Pools that had right by the slide, yeah? He was still following me, thinking we're going to start swimming laps in a second, which I had no intention of doing at all. This is for Early Bird Swimming Club at Fulham. And what I did was, I went into this little bit. Just by the slide bit, there's a little sort of like a lagoon.
Yeah, a landing area for the kids.
And I remember his look in his face. We're swimming towards it, yeah? And I turned around to him and went, shh. I goes, I call this place the Hidden Kingdom. We swam in, and he looked like I was insane. And he goes, Johnny, I'm going to swim some laps. And then I just spent 20 minutes going down the slide, just going, hey, like this. He was swimming. He just thought I was insane. Which is...
Did he fire you? Did you stay working with
that? The look in his face when I said, I call this place the Hidden Kingdom. And we just went into this little inlet, about sort of 2 foot shallow. Anyway.
I like that.
It's all right.
I like that when you're swimming around the really shallow bit.
I like that as well.
When you got a pool that people walk in.
Yeah, it's
for
nice.
Kids.
It's always a bit warmer.
You feel a little bit Cousteau-esque.
Yeah, you do. That's what brought it to mind. But I remember the look at his face. I went in with a bomb. I said, then I did. I'm not repeating my own story. I'll tell you how hilarious I am. It's 12:15. We'll have the outsider right now. Yes, indeed. The man who knows nothing whatsoever about football, hates it and probably feels massive relief. There's only 2 games on today, and that's pretty well it till the World Cup. Morning, outsider.
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad. You must be fit. You must love this week. Very little football, just bliss for you.
When you say very little football, does it change from week to week?
Oh, you see what he's done? Because he lies outside it. Outsider. Can I ask you?
A match a day or something?
Okay.
I thought they were just sort of on Saturday afternoons.
Okay, very good. Outsider, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What in the World Cup? If England got to the World Cup final, we established that you would watch that.
Oh, absolutely! I've got to support my country. I mean, I would enjoy watching that. I wouldn't understand what's going on, but I would shout England a lot.
Patriotism, last refuge of the outsider.
Play up, England.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I realised the other day. I say this off the cuff. Do you know what I realised, having looked at all the news recently about these various people?
Yeah.
If patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel, charity is the first. Absolute scoundrels hide there. Sorry, carry on.
No, I like what you were talking about with diving. Now, diving's a sport that I like.
Is it?
I'm with the Cousteau on that one.
Are you?
Yeah, using technical equipment to get to places that are dangerous to get to, floating around shipwrecks and seeing little fish swimming around. Have you been diving in Plymouth?
Okay, do you know what? Let's move on.
Who wants to go diving in Plymouth?
We're getting into Hawksby and Jacobs territory here because he has a new book out and he's here now to talk about diving with footballs.
In Plymouth.
No, are you serious?
A man who went around the world looking for missing footballs. Here he is. Do you know what? Outside, let's have your headlines.
Okay. Yeye has his cake, but doesn't eat it.
Whoa!
England players win a penalty shootout.
Oh!
West Ham stand by there, Sam.
Oh! I tell you what, outsider, very, very good. Thank you very much indeed. The outsider, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
You know what? I'm not having that. I'm not having that. He knows nothing about football. He's got more in-depth knowledge of what's happened this week than we have. Yeah. I'd forgotten about that. England won the under 17s.
Oh, yeah, Cundy's running scared. We've got more floor-drobe news. What I was just saying earlier, I hope I didn't offend anyone when I said if patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel, charity has surely become the first. I just meant that these days I keep reading in the newspapers about people who've done shocking things all the time. They were sort of doing it through kind of charities and things, and it is quite a racket. I haven't offended anyone because there's lots of great things done for charity, obviously. Hope I didn't offend anyone, but a lot of people... Right, why boys?
Their behaviour.
Not for nothing did they change it. It used to be faith, hope, and charity in the Bible. They changed it to faith, hope, and love because even back then it was already becoming quite a scam.
Reasons I like QPR.
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to give you them now.
Okay. One, it's local.
Kids. This is why I want them to stay down. Showed at one time they let kids in for free. You take your kids, they just let you in.
Do they?
Yeah. I don't know if they still do it, but I went to see QPR Hull with my mate.
Okay.
He had a kid's ticket for free.
Yeah.
The steward just let me bring mine in for free. That's good.
2.
They've got the first game I ever took my son to. Half-time, they had soldiers fighting on the pitch.
Brilliant.
They had an unarmed martial combat display.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. He just thought it was the best thing. Real soldiers fighting each other. Not 4 or 5 of them, about 40 soldiers in full fight mode. Third, I saw Brian Glover there.
Oh,
Brian Glover. That's my personal. You know, sometimes you got a game in the hospitality area, or the catering bit.
Brian Glover,
and he was with that actor who plays Lonnie Urquhart in Mike Bassett, England manager, the Laurie McMenemy character.
Yeah.
I don't know his name. He's in Little Voice as well.
Do you know what I hate as a half-time entertainment? Do you know what I always think is really bad? I don't know why. English cheerleaders. They're always just... No disrespect.
Palace have got good ones.
No, well, I don't know, but sometimes they have these cheerleaders come. They're all really enthusiastic. I don't know if it's the fact they always wear flesh-coloured tights for a start, for some reason, because they haven't got a tan. It's like it's like November in Bradford. But the other thing is they all just look... They've got that figure. They just look really kind of... Like you could easily... Like when they go home, they just put them all in boxes because they can fit in them. You can just bend them into boxes and that's fine and stack them up. No, do you know what I mean? They've just got air holes, but that's what they do. No, they don't need it. Can we just put them in a lorry? We just load them in boxes, in they go, and then they'll just all go home like that. They just look really bendy. They look so flexible and sort of bendy. Hang on, wait a second, James. Do you know what? Here's us yakking.
Yeah.
The Moose is out there. Moose, he's, I think, the Championship Player Final. Well, I know it's live on TalkSport this afternoon. On Wembley Way, mingling. I thought he said minging there, but it's mingling with the fans ahead of the action. Is the Moose, ladies and gentlemen. We can cross to him now. Moose, what's your vibe today? Hey, what's your vibe just now?
Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, on Wembley Way, got some Derby fans alongside me. What is the vibe, sir?
I think the vibes are we're quite confident that we're going to win today. We've got a young team. I think if we get at them straight away, we'll probably come away with a 2-0, 2-1 victory.
Have you overachieved by getting here?
No, I don't think so, not at all. I think we've got as a more rounded team. QPR's probably got the odd better individual, more the Premiership class maybe, but I think Derby's just got a much better team, and on the day, I think Derby should hopefully do them. I think a good win for us today.
Does Derby need to score first?
I don't think it matters. We've gone down, one goal down, and we've always come back, and we've fought well. We've scored loads of goals. I think we're the highest scorers in the Championship, just pit Leicester. But on the break, on the counter attack, we do concede goals as well. But we just have to hope we score more than them today. But I certainly think there'll be goals in it.
And is this about redemption for Mr. McLaren? I mean, he's going to be in the same England dressing room. He's going to be on that same touchline where it went wrong 7 or 8 years ago.
I don't like to dwell on stuff that happened 7 or 8 years ago. I think Steve McLaren's a true professional. He knows what he's doing. He's been here. He's been at big clubs around the world. He's going to drill into the players' confidence. Confidence breeds confidence, and we're just quite happy that we're here. We're going to do it. We're going to do it today.
Okay, quick score prediction.
3-1 Derby.
2-0 Derby.
2-0 Derby.
There we go. I think the vibe there, Johnny, is confidence.
Thank you very much there, Moose. Giving us the vibe, eh?
From Wembley.
Just now. Just a quickie here. This is in Deirdre. I've got a bit of a problem here in that I've lost my glasses, so I've had to buy these reading glasses, and they're just a bit strange. And frankly, wearing them, I feel car sick. Just like all the time. I feel like, when you're a kid, you just get a bit car sick. They've given me sort of motion sickness.
Well, don't read.
But I'll struggle through.
If you read in the car, you're going to be sick. So if you're reading Dear Deirdre, it's going to make it worse.
No, Dear Deirdre cures everything, because she's fantastic.
Oh, no, that stag do went last week.
Well, dear Deirdre, I've warned my fiancé I'll call off our wedding if he goes to a strip club on his stag do next month. I'm 23, he's 25, we've got a 3-month-old daughter. My confidence has taken a massive knock since her birth. The idea of a naked woman gyrating all over him makes me feel sick. Can I just say to you, dear Deirdre doesn't point this out, but think about it. Think about it, love. If you went to a club and saw like the Chippendales... it's just a bit of fun. It's nothing. That's all these strippers are. They're just like female Chippendales. Don't worry about it. They're not the sort of women men actually fancy. They're just like the sort of caricature woman.
Well, hang on.
So I'm just going to say, that's what you say anyway. 12:27.
Those little squirrels.
Yes. That's Chippendale.
You got a dancing, stripping squirrel.
No, I wasn't
chipmunks.
I'm just saying, fellas, that's your official line on that one. They're as ludicrous as the Chippendales, love.
Just say they're behind Perspex or something.
Listen, we can't... Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, but it's a garage
it's like
style.
a Pope-mobile.
No, it's like it's a forecourt stripping club.
Okay, do you know what? Adrian Durham is chumming the water this afternoon for the whole nation. Adrian, how are you, matey?
I'm okay.
I've enjoyed your show immensely this week. It's the only entertainment, it's the only sport I've got.
Is that right?
He deliberately drives places to listen to it.
Yeah, I do. I've become like a sort of professional driver. I'm just waiting outside stations for people, just so I can listen to more of it. But what I enjoyed particularly was Goffey saying, I don't know if it's anywhere here, but he used this lovely phrase.
Fancy football.
Fancy football. During the World Cup, we're going to start our Fancy Football League, where we're going to pick out
Who was he saying shouldn't play fancy football?
Who did he say that about, Adrian?
I can't remember that. It washes over me.
I don't listen to him. Yeah. I don't listen to my own show, actually.
I wouldn't have Goffey washing over me.
He was defending Sam Allardyce.
The other thing was that brilliant West Ham guy you had on, who was talking about his 7-year-old son. Who wasn't he the best caller? And he's called up and he says, my son has boycotted West Ham Tottenham because he says, Dad, you taught me that football should be played on the ground. I thought it was one of the most moving calls I've ever had. It was spectacular radio, Adrian. Well done.
It was dads and lads, that kind of thing.
It was beautiful. What have you got today? Come on.
We've got live commentary of the Championship Playoff Final. QPR against Derby. Harry Redknapp against Steve McLaren. One of these English managers is going to take his club into the Premier League next season. It is worth a small fortune, this game. Myself, Stuart Pearce, Chris Powell, Michael Gray, all at Wembley. What we all got in common? Anybody know? You lot? Do you know? No idea.
You're all Peterborough fans.
No, we're all left backs. They were all slightly better than me, though. They made it. I didn't.
I don't really see you as a famous left back, Adrian.
Do you still play football now, Adrian?
No.
Okay, so you don't get any stick.
No, I'm useless.
Okay.
No, I was terrible. But anyway, we're all going to have a good chat before
here's
the
another big question for you.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the coverage. Certainly, Pearce is working out very well. He's very honest, isn't he? Very candid.
Just calls it as he sees it. You know, that's the way to do it.
Tell Stuart from me, I admire his candour.
I think that'll mean a lot to him, Johnny.
Well, thank you very much. What about the Daily Arsenal? Did it survive the Twitter vote?
70% said they wanted it to stay. You know, and so it is staying. We've got to go with the public vote.
Do you know what, Adrian? Sometimes I think, you know what? Arsene Wenger, I mean, I know you criticise him a lot, but what a tough job it is. You imagine doing your job, right, if there was Arsene Wenger doing a show every day about the Daily Durham. And he was doing the Daily, he goes, can Durham stay? I don't know.
Have you seen the tweets I get, honestly? You've seen those?
Yeah,
on a daily basis.
I write most of them.
I've got people on my own station doing shows out of me. You know?
Adrian, somebody has said that your kids are Arsenal fans.
No, not at all.
No. You lie, both of them. I know someone who sits behind them.
I'll tell you, my sister is. My sister's an Arsenal
fan. Your kids are, we know, it's a fact.
He's a posh fan.
They're not. They're Arsenal fans. And I've heard the only reason you give Wenger a lot is because you really want your kids to get a bit more glory.
Didn't I tell you the story of how he's
a posh fan? There's a personal motive.
Did I not tell you how he became a posh fan?
Who?
My son.
How?
He got to his 10th birthday and he was chopping and changing clubs. I said, son, you're 10 years old. You've got to stick with a club. It's the way to do it. If you want to be a proper man, you stick with a football club. Now, if you want to go with Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, you want to go with any of them, I'm not buying you anything from the club shop. Not buying you any merchandise. You go with Posh, you can have what you want. So he's a Peterborough United fan. It worked.
Well, so you can go to the club stall.
Yes.
That's nice, isn't it?
And online.
Is there a shop? Is there a Peterborough club shop, or is it
very
just
small one? Yeah.
I was going to say, I just thought it was like a stall they have once a week, like a car boot sale. I used to work right by the club, actually.
It's a mobile home.
I used to work at the Peterborough Herald and Post. I used to have to sometimes go down there and do the match day coverage.
That is not true, is
it? It is absolutely true.
There's a pub right behind the Peterborough train station.
Yeah.
On a long layover, 7 minutes once.
Yeah.
They were a bit early coming back from Leeds. I've been at Ellen Road watching Happy Mondays. I knew that pub was there. Shot out, got a triple brandy, back on the train.
Oh. But look how much you're smiling back in your drinking days. You love that, don't you?
Yeah, my mates just saw me running off. Do you know that, Adrian? It's called a station or something?
Yeah.
The Great Northern. It's a hotel. It's a Great Northern.
It's just right opposite the station.
Okay, do you know what, Adrian? I'm going to have to leave you there. You take care. Have a great afternoon. I'm sort of sad the Daily Arsenal survived. I sort of want you to move on to... Because the rest of the show really is the...
He hates Leeds as well.
The rest of the show really is the Daily Moyes. I don't know what you're going to do without him.
Has been last season.
It certainly was. I'll speak to you later, Adrian. You take care.
Be lucky.
The Daily Durham. There he goes. This is your warm-up on Talk Sport. Smiling on your dial every Saturday and Sunday. Although on Sunday it smiles a bit, the smile's a bit broader because they've actually got some professionals in with some football knowledge. Talk Sport bringing you live full live commentary of the Champions League final this evening. It's a massive game. We've teamed up with Sports Yapper, the free app for sports fans, so you can get involved in all the action and have your say on the game with us, your mates and other fans. Tonight, amazingly, Spain legend Mendieta will be on the Sports Yapper giving his expert analysis and thoughts live throughout the game. How about that? Quite exciting, huh? So, to join in, download the free Sports Yapper app now and sign up to TalkSport and your teams. How about that? James, do you do a bit of sports? I guess sports yapping is what we do anyway. Right, I'm going to give me the predictions here. I am bottom of the league, said I am bottom of the league. It's all turned around. James Brown last week. JB got exact score. Barcelona versus Atletico. He predicted an Arsenal win. Gavin's got 4 points last week.
Same results.
He's got 4 points as well. And funnily enough, it's reverse here because it's exactly reverse of how we finished at the end of last season.
It is.
How weird that should happen. The bench is on 1 point. They predicted a win for Cork City, and I got 1 point. I predicted an Arsenal win at that FA Cup final. Hello there. Who's the wench on the bench today? It's Susan. Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm fine. Who won then the
He did.
Premier League? Did you?
I did, yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, because
you were way ahead, and you were getting a lot of points yourself.
Yeah, but I beat the bench right at the end.
I tell you what he did was he made the producers stop getting you and the Spanish lady who were really good.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And he just got...
Exactly. He's exactly right.
Oh, right, okay then.
Okay,
Oh, it's
you
a
ready?
shame.
I just start getting
fall-off
we
was
just start getting
amazing.
girls in off the street. Okay, no offence, Susan. Okay, here we go. Are we ready for this?
Yeah, go, Susan.
Okay, first game: Derby County versus Queens Park Rangers. Susan.
3-2.
Oh, hang on a second. Is Gavin out there? Gav, you there? What's your vibe? Are you ready for some predictions, here?
I am. I'm going to be doing it just guessing today. I'll probably do well.
Okay, you probably will. That's all I've been doing. Okay, so let's start off with the. This is Derby County, Queens Park Rangers, 3 p.m. live commentary on TalkSport. Bench.
3-2.
3-2. Gav.
Who's first, QPR or Derby in the list?
Derby.
Okay, I'm going to give it to Derby 2-1.
2-1. James.
I'm going after 90 minutes. 2-2.
After 90. After 90.
Yeah, we're not including the.
After 90 minutes. That's in, no. You can't. You got. Okay. After 90 minutes. Okay, I'll take that. That's fine.
Just 90 minutes.
Okay, I'm going for no, because then the results out the window.
Yeah, but we've talked about this.
No, it's a bit. Okay, it's a bit weird. Okay, I'm going to go with. I think QPR are going to go up. I think it's going to be 1-2. Okay, Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. I'm going to go. I think Atletico Madrid just look on fire at the moment. But in the end, Real Madrid have got the strength in depth. So I'm going to have to give it to them. I think it's going to be 1-3. Gav.
I'm going to go 1-4 because Real Madrid are desperate for La Decima, the 10th Champions League title.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Or as we say,
La Decima.
Okay, James.
La Decima.
Yeah. I've gone 2-2. Full 90 minutes.
You're just
2-2.
being an idiot.
No, I'm not.
No, you just is. At 90 minutes, it's going to be 2-0. Where are you going? Where are you going here?
I'm going 1-2.
1-2. Okay. And Leyton Orient versus Rotherham United. Gav.
Orient 1-0.
1-0. Okay. Bench.
2-1.
2-1. James.
You're not doing the breaths.
1-2.
Okay, 1-2. Leyton Orient versus Rotherham United. I'm going to go 1-1. That concludes your warm-up matchday predictions. I'm going to sign the VF119 form and hand it in to the producer. If you'd like to put your John Hancock on there, I think we can conclude business. Okay, it's 12:54 right here on TalkSport. Thank you very much, Wench on the bench, Susan.
You're welcome.
It's just a bit of fun, this one, the inter-season one. You know, the mid-season one. You know,
It's easier, isn't it? Less football.
Less football is much easier. Do you know what? But there's one thing this season's taught me, and it must have taught Liverpool fans this, and also Man United fan I heard the other day, who is so angry talking about his season, is that you're just fans. It's meant to be a release from everything. Don't let it get you down. Life's depressing enough as it is, without following a team that also depresses you. Kick football out of football. Never let the football spoil a good day out the football. It's much more about being a member of a club where your mates turn up as well. That's how I see it. I mean, James is a Leeds United fan. You don't see him with a shotgun in his mouth. It's 12:55.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. You're listening to the warm-up on TalkSport. Thanks to Capital One, the credit card that supports the supporters and us. Enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy the Champions League, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much. That was your warm-up podcast. Just a reminder, I'm looking for you to tweet the show about the craze that went Jimmy Hill when people used to stroke their chins in disbelief at things. I just want to know what the earliest usage and try and trace the man who first thought it up. There must be one guy at one school who was the first person to go, oh yeah,
Jimmy Hill.
Yes. Yeah, I want to know who did it and why.
Do you know what? We should be having postman-friendly content on the podcast.
What do you mean?
Because in the week, we get these tweets from people who are working and they don't get to listen to the show on a Saturday, but they save it to listen to the podcast whilst they're doing their jobs. So we've had 2 postmen last week tweeting us saying, laughing out loud, listen to the podcast whilst I'm doing my post round. Various people. If you are listening to this podcast during the week whilst you do your job, do tweet us and we'll mention it next week.
Do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to train a pack of chihuahuas to go for postmen. Actually train him up.
Savage by Chihuahua.
No, just to train him up.
Multiple assassins.
10 of them. No, 20. Door open, 20 chihuahuas come out. And I've already scented them up with a bit of postman trouser.
We should get Mickey Jim back on for the summer.
What am I talking about?
We're just talking about chihuahuas.
Just talking drivel.
I saw.
Of course I'd use
I saw
Rottweilers.
three milk bottles on my neighbour's doorstep this
Did you?
morning. Haven't seen that for years.
What, milk bottles?
Well, you very rarely see the milkman now because
know.
everyone goes to the shop and
It's,
gets...
it's really sad, isn't it? And everyone thinks Ocado, what a great thing. I'm thinking,
Been
no,
doing it for years.
Unigate.
Do you remember those tiny milk bottles you got at school?
Yeah, and they were warm by break in the
Remember
summer.
those little, tiny little bottles? You get them now in vintage sort of second-hand
Yeah.
shops, and they're like £6 a bottle.
What are they?
It's
But do you remember, if it in the summer, by break time when you had them, they were virtually cheese.
Yeah, but they were warm. I used to like puncturing the lid of the milk.
Yeah.
With the straw, but I didn't like drinking it. I'm
No,
not
do
a fan of milk.
Do you know what we used to do? We used to drink ours as quick as possible. Then we used to try and do that thing to bring it up in the back of the throat. 'Cause it meant- no, we used to have competitions with Green Shield stamps to see if you could dribble right down to the ground with the milky spittle and actually get the Green Shield stamp off the floor and bring it back up again.
An unbroken spit.
Yes.
Yo-yo.
To dribble down to the ground, pick up a Green Shield stamp and suck it back up and
No.
get it on your lips. Yeah. Martin Underwood could do it. Martin Underwood did it every time.
Well, he picked up the Green Shield stamp.
Off the floor, yeah. We used to stand there and break like that. You used to dribble down to the ground. You couldn't bend down too much. You were allowed to slightly incline the head, but you had to stand tall. You used to try and dribble right down to the ground, pick up the Green Shield stamp, and then whip it back up again. Martin Underwood could do it.
Did you have flagging wars?
What's that?
After the swimming, there was
Yeah.
a lot of spitting in the
No,
over,
we never
over
did
the
that.
cubicles.
This is vile
in the
league
train.
thing.
Oh,
What
horrible.
we used to do, Vaughan, I think that is vile. What we used to do, Vaughan, is just spit at each other
No,
in
it was.
changing rooms.
Why? It's horrible. It was
No, in Leeds
disgusting.
it's very different. We just used to sit there and do you have
Over-
flagging wars? What's that, Jim? Just spitting at each other in the changing rooms.
Over the top of the cubicles.
Ah, northern lads. Right, lads. We're going to finish off today's PE with flagging wars.
No,
Get
it was
spitting.
disgusting. You
And
just-
the teacher used to join in and just gob at us.
We're going to try and get out my PE teacher.
Why?
Because we're going into the cricket season. We've got nothing to talk about.
Yeah, we should get you.
And his job now,
Yeah.
he was obsessed with protecting his cricket pitch, and he's retired from teaching,
Yeah.
and now he just looks after a cricket pitch
How
in the
do you-
Pennines.
I should get mine in, you know.
We
I'll need a shovel to get him up there. But
I was in the graveyard yesterday, taking the baby for a walk, and I saw an exhumed grave.
Did
It
you?
was terrifying.
I bet it is.
Because it's a Victorian graveyard. All the other graves are ancient, falling over, covered in nettles, and there's one that's clearly been dug up and robbed.
Hey, you know, really?
Honestly, it was absolutely terrifying.
Listen, I've got to go. I've got a long afternoon. I'm gonna hunt, track Adrian Durham. What are you up to?
Like Rambo. Happy Monday's first photo shoot. Most bands, they try and look like the Ramones or Velvet Underground or something like that.
No, they don't. No
Yeah,
bands try and look like the Ramones.
No, back in the day,
No,
the bands...
no, they didn't. Only the Ramones ever looked like the Ramones.
No, what I mean is...
No, it's
they're-
not even a true statement.
No, what I mean is...
Back then, most bands tried to look like the Ramones.
I meant they wanted to be photographed stood in front of a wall.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you know,
yes,
looking
yeah,
lo-fi.
Yeah.
They didn't have really polished
Yeah.
studio shots like in the 70s.
Preferably with good graffiti
So,
on it.
you know, indie bands, we were working on the Enemy, late 80s.
Yeah.
This band send a picture of themselves, all in a line, look a bit casual, although I'd actually had suede heads,
Yeah.
dressed in casual gear, in front of a Rambo poster.
Oh, that's great.
First Blood.
It was a brilliant film.
Happy Mondays. That
That's
was their
brilliant.
first
Was it?
PR shot. Let's have a picture in front of the Rambo poster.
That's
First
brilliant.
Blood.
Do you remember the film Cobra?
With Dolph Lundgren.
No, with Stallone.
No.
Officer, it's one of the worst films you ever seen in life. Officer Cabretti, and do you know what the that's why it's called Cobra. It was the one character that didn't work. It was Rocky, Rambo, and Cobra didn't work. Do you know what the phrase for it was?
Yep.
Crime is a disease. Meet the cure.
Stallone is an Everton fan.
Shut up, James.
Stallone is an Everton fan.
Stallone is
because
not an
of his
Everton-
connection with the guy from Planet Hollywood who
He's-
owns a bit of Everton.
He's not an Everton fan.
I'm telling
He's
you
not.
now.
Raquel Welch went to Chelsea to make her a blue. 1/5. Sorry, wait a second.
My
It
mate
wasn't, it was Chelsea.
went out with her daughter.
That's the warm-up podcast. We're back next week.